Very good evening, friends. Meeting again in the session of Robert's philosophy. And we are on the concluding part of the chapter and concluding part of the Robert's philosophy. We were discussing regarding the modern medication and homeopathic principles, the concluding part of this chapter. In this chapter, here, Robert has tried to correlate homeopathy in relation with the allopathic medications or modern medication. The comparison between the larger doses of the allopathic medicines and their hazardous effects, their comparison with homeopathy in small doses, and even he has mentioned over there the synthetic drugs if you use in the minimum dose or in the homeopathic way, preparing them dynamic and proving on healthy human beings and noting whole drug proving applied on basis of symptom similarity, you can. But it should not be just an isopathy that the antibiotic which is used in certain disorders is saturated or succussed and given to the patient for the same purpose. It's not homeopathy. Thereafter, he has made a comment on the vitamins and just one paragraph related with the vitamins we have discussed. The topic is most controversial topic because what happens in vitamins generally in developed countries there is no need because their food is full of vitamins, minerals and everything. So deficiency disorders are generally comparatively less in the developed country as compared to the developmental countries like India, where in the villages the peoples are not getting the food which they need and which actually should be provided, and because of which there are a lot of deficiencies developed. This is because of directly a lack of supply. It is not because of disorder. And here, Robert has made one comment, but he has made it in a different manner. We have to take into consideration the India and not the America. So on page number 284, what he says is very important. With the increased regard for the vitamins as a necessity of the life, we are now under the barrage of foodstuffs where added synthetic vitamins are an incredible part of the diet, since it has been found that these substances are necessary to the life and development, argue the laboratory chemists. Therefore, as a nation, we must take advantage of this source of energy and vigor. And since the synthetic vitamins have same chemical construction and are easily available at the comparatively low cost, we must use these vitamins to the fullest extent. Therefore, they are introduced into the many basic foods as a flour, etc. Thus, we have business venture, which is very profitable to the producers of the vitamins. And it becomes almost impossible for an individual to escape diet heavily laden with the synthetic vitamin. And this is the fashion of the day. We get this common salt and it is added with iodine. And it has been, the cost is increased because they say that we have added iodide over there. Iodide salt is given. Like such a thing, they used to add many such types of synthetic vitamins, increases their profit because increasing their price and they get a much more benefit than they used to get when it is provided naked. So this is too important. And we are getting not a pure material, but we are getting an adulterated vitamin supplied material many a times. Question arises, does it's a need of the society every time? It varies from individual to individual. Certain people's it's a need. Certain people's it's an over. So, what he says further, now, however, the careful research men who investigate carefully all sides of the question and take time to correlate facts are beginning to voice the conclusion that after long and critical study, they find there is a great danger from too many vitamins as from too few, and perhaps more. This is a statement in accord with the homeopathic principles and with the laws of nature governing balance in all things. The amount necessary to effect any change in nature is least possible. This is called as law of least action. And another, that is the action and reactions are equal and opposite. That is another law of reciprocal action. These two laws indicate that the quantity needed in order to make a change in the human life is least possible. So vitamins, they are required in very less quantity. It is not necessary to flood the vitamins in the food in so much of quantity, which has been done nowadays. Luckily enough, in India, we don't have that much of addition of the vitamins which we used to get in foreign countries. They are much more. Question arises, does it need? Second is, if you are giving so much amount of vitamin, does it causes any harm to the patient? All those things, all those questions one should think about and one should accordingly work. Here, the question which you have to put in your mind, really it is needed, it's okay. But if it is not needed, why to give the vitamins to the patient? So it depends upon situation. The manufacturing chemist states in his literature that it has been determined that normal vitamin requirement is from 3 to 25 milligram per day. We may expect that overdosing with vitamins which have a constructive and maintenance value would have two definite reactions. First, a destructive action proportionate to its normal constructive action. And second, permanent disability of system to react to the normal vitamins intake. The latter is comparable to the effects of insulin administration in diabetic patients. He soon loses his ability to produce necessary secretions in his own economy. This is another illustration of the loss of function by need being supplied through no effort of the patient. And evolution bears witness to the fact that what a creature does not use, he must lose. Thus, the excess supply of vitamins robs the body of its normal reception of natural vitamins. So he has given two important things. If it is not needed, one should not provide it. If you are providing, there are two types of things. One, it becomes inert after some time, that is one thing. Second important thing which he explains over there, that the natural vitamins which gets absorbed from the body, they loses their strength. And this might happen if you are overdosing with the vitamin. And this is again a one point which is a controversial point. Depending upon situation, you have to adapt and work accordingly. One can hardly conceive of the effect of high vitamin intake on younger generation in the light of this conclusion. And we can hardly fail to consider the results of unrestricted administration of these elements in future generations. Will they be able to assimilate them from natural source? Or will there be, after a time, some radical change in the human economy to compensate? And he is putting many questions against it. Now, if you join a gym, they immediately ask provides that you must take these protein powders. Without that, you should not do a gym. Is it really necessary? Don't you think that proteins are natural proteins you can get from the eggs, you can get from the sprouts, you can get it from many sources? Is it necessary that they should take a protein? If it is no, then why do you take or why do you consume? Because it becomes a business. And the protein powders, do you know what is the cost of protein powders nowadays? There are many protein powders which actually cost very less, but those which are marketed by multi-level marketing carries a very high cost. And what patient gets, what the person gets ultimately? the same thing as he will going to get it from the eggs or from the sprouts. In particular, we may inquire regarding the reactions in special functions. Will these functions be permanently affected? For instance, it has been demonstrated that vitamin C and D help to overcome rickets, and that certain amount of that these are necessary for proper growth and development of the bony structure. It has also been demonstrated that excessive doses will cause rickets. Since vitamin E is supposed to stimulate the generative function, will massive dosing destroy or impair this function? We might continue this analogy through the list of vitamins so far isolated and studied. So he is putting certain questions to the medical fraternity that higher or larger doses of those vitamins, whether they cause damage to the human health, whether it causes or whether it has a stimulating action in low doses, whether it causes damage and destructive action in larger doses. And all those questions one must study, one must make an experiment of it and show the results of it. It is well for us as homeopathic physicians not to overlook the potentialities of the synthetics in the field of therapeutics, but we must examine them carefully in the light of our well-proven homeopathic principle, remembering also that findings of the clinic do not necessarily bear the same relationship to the human patient as to the laboratory animal, and that the second results may vary widely may be directly opposite to, and the primary results which appear to be so brilliant and satisfactory. And what he's saying that the things which looks very simple in laboratories becomes difficult when you practically utilize it in the human being. Doing the things in the test tube is quite simple because there is no obstruction, there is no controversial things over there, and still it when you provide it into the human being, there is a lot of resistance can be developed over there. So these are the things which these are many questions which he puts in order to explain all those things. There is one thing, vitamin tablets are made from artificial thing. Yes, many times they are made up of artificial synthetic vitamins. We must remember that our homeopathic laws, if they are natural laws, as we have every reason to believe, are still worthy of our consideration, and that no sure guidance has been yet been found that is not in accordance with those laws, and that the test of the time must be applied in every instance of new discovery that has been tried according to the known law. It is foolish to reject the new just because it is new, but it is even more foolish to accept everything new finding by blindly without fully testing its validity when we have at hand all the means of sound procedure, means which the dominant school so far has failed to excel. So to conclude chapter, he has put very important thing. He says that one should not reject the new things. It should be time tested. You must use your intellect. You must make experiment on them. Without making an experiment to deny the new things is a foolish thing. But at the same time, without making experimentation, following it is also a foolish thing. So whatever new comes, you must have a personal practical experience of it. And then after experimentation, if you find the truth behind that, then either utilize or either deny. And that's the real thing one must do. So with those lines, he concludes the chapter and says over there, those medications, the synthetic medications in allopathic system of medicine for the people in larger doses always have hazardous effects on the body. As compared, the minimum dose which is used in homeopathy and which is based upon all 7 cardinal principles of homeopathy always works beautifully, whether the case may be acute, subacute, or chronic. So it is not always needed that larger doses are necessary. In fact, larger doses may damage the human health. So this is a very important chapter which he has mentioned over there and explained about the modern science, modern medication, and its relation with the homeopathy over there. So we have finished Robert's philosophy completely. So total chapters from Robert's philosophy from second year, third year, fourth year syllabus we have finished, and it is available over there on YouTube. Second important thing, we'll start with new philosophy. I will let you know which I will going to start on WhatsApp. Be there to attend that also. And second important thing, one announcement is there on Sunday. We'll have a seminar on acutes and emergencies, how to handle acutes and emergencies. Time will be between 10 to 1 a.m. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you being there and good evening.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
Thank you.